Hello and welcome to another presentation. In this presentation I'm going to talk about council tax and PCN enforcement. Many people have been subject to unlawful entry into their property, unlawful goods being stolen, and I think it is relevant that we understand the difference between a warrant of entry and a warrant of control, as well as the limits to which these enforcement officers are allowed to operate. A warrant of entry versus a warrant of control. A warrant of entry is a legal document issued by a court that authorizes a person, such as a police officer or other authorized official, to enter property to perform a specific action. These actions may include searching for evidence, arresting a suspect, or executing a search warrant. Warrants of entry are typically issued in relation to criminal investigations to enforce the law. Relevant legislation includes Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984, often understood as PACE, and under Section 16 of the PACE, a warrant to entry and search the premises may be executed by a constable, and the warrant may authorize someone else to accompany the constable. I've given you the legal reference in point number 7 later in this presentation. Rights of Entry, Gas and Electric Boards Act 1954. This act regulates the exercise of statutory rights of entry by or on behalf of gas or electric boards, including the issuance of warrants of entry, and I've given the appropriate references under point 1 and point 5 later in this presentation. This is one of the reasons I do not recommend people simply remove their smart meter because they don't like the way it operates, or the fact that it transmits RF. Warrants of control. A warrant of control is a legal document that authorizes an enforcement agent to take control of goods belonging to the debtor to recover a debt. Keep in mind now that whoever the parking infraction person is trying to enforce a debt does not own your vehicle and therefore has no legal right to hire a collection company to go get it, such as Duke's Bailiffs. Same thing with the council tax. The council does not own any of the property that's inside your home, and in fact does not own your home either. They have no receipts and no purchasing authority when it comes to your property. Therefore, they have no contract and there's no recovery of debt possible. It does not permit entry onto property without the debtor's consent or with the appropriate legal authority. Relevant legislation includes Tribunal Courts and Enforcement Act 2007. Schedule 12 of this act outlines the powers and procedures for taking control of goods, including the issue of warrant of control. County court judgment, called CCJs. If a debtor fails to repay a CCJ, a creditor can apply for a warrant of control, which authorizes a bailiff to visit the debtor's property to collect a debt or seize goods. Again, I've given the appropriate references under points 17 and 18 to follow later in this program. Now keep in mind that this thing says county court judgments. A magistrate court is not a county court. Council or PCN enforcement. A warrant of control does not permit entry into a property. It only authorizes the enforcement to take control of goods belonging to the debtor to recover a debt owed. Like I said previously, a council does not own any property, including but not limited to furniture, televisions, computers, or appliances, and they do not own the vehicle, which is self-evident upon review of the V5 document, as you are the registered keeper, not the registered owner. I'm well aware of many people that have been fleeced by the enforcement agents and they clamp your vehicle, but it's not technically your vehicle, you're the keeper. Therefore, without the consent of the owner and a contract that you've breached with the owner, which is DVLA, there is no reason to have that vehicle clamped and or towed or seized. The same thing would apply for council tax. They don't own the vehicle. Therefore, they have no legal authority to clamp it, tow it, or seize it. Key points. Entry and seizure. The enforcement agent is not allowed to force entry onto a property to seize goods without the debtor's consent, without the appropriate legal authority. If the debtor refuses entry, the enforcement agent may apply for a warrant or a warrant of arrest, but these are typically criminal investigations and not civil debt recovery cases. I've given you the appropriate references in 16 and 17. Council property. The council does not own the property, including the furniture, television, computers, or appliances, and do not own vehicles. This is evident from the V5 document, which lists you as the registered keeper of the vehicle. Legal authority. If the enforcement agent claims to have a warrant of control, it is important to understand that this does not grant permission to enter your property. The enforcement agent can take control of goods with the debtor's consent or the appropriate legal authority. Points 17 and 18. This is why it is very important that if an enforcement agent comes to your property, do not let that person into your home. If you've deemed consent the one time, it's deemed that you have consented all the time. Therefore, speak to that agent through a window. I would also advise that you record your interaction with this individual in case something has to be proven later. By understanding the differences between the warrant of control and the warrant of entry, you can better protect your rights and respond appropriately to these enforcement actions. Keep in mind that these are not lawful. Many times the enforcement agent will bring the police. Police do not get involved in civil matters. They're simply there to maintain the peace, and when this enforcement agent or bailiff is trying to breach your peace, you have the right to ask that officer to arrest that individual, or individuals as the case may be. I have known of many cases where people have broken into homes under the guise of lawfully authority. They don't have the lawful authority to break into homes. I provided a list of references here for your ease of reference, and you can write them down if you wish. I will leave them on the screen for approximately 10 seconds. Here's an additional list of references. And an additional list of references. I'm currently working on a book regarding property rights and a separate book on council tax. If you wish to be notified when these books are complete or have any other comments or questions, I can be reached via email at smcdonal@kos.net, and you can view my other videos relative to council tax and a number of other subjects at the YouTube channel listed. I would like to thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation and hope that you found it helpful.